We will. If I didn't have so many things open, it might be easier. There we go. All right. So welcome everyone to the Rotary Club of Carbondale. Today is March 10th, and our guest speaker with us this week is Mr. Bob Wills of the Eurma Hayes Center. Ding, there's our virtual bell for the day. I want to thank Shane for being our greeter this afternoon. It's time for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Brad Austin, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Our moment of reflection this week. I signed up to do the moment of reflection this week. So our reflection this week is one that I'm putting out there that from Maya Angelou. Being Women's History Month, I wanted to stick with an influential female in our in U.S. history. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And especially this year, in a year of the pandemic, where we're all so isolated, the way people have made me feel over the course of the last year has been very helpful. Our Rotary Club has done a whole heck of a lot for the community with our 100 Little Things, but I think the camaraderie that we've built and the friendships that we've been able to maintain have helped everybody through this pandemic. So thank you for everybody for making me feel welcome here and for making everybody else feel great as well. Time for our song time. Going to go to an old staple here online of R-O-T-A-R-Y. All right. Introduction of our guests today. Fellow Rotarian Sharon Lawrenskis, would you please introduce our guests?
We always welcome guests to Carbondale Rotary, and unfortunately I didn't know till the last minute I was doing this, so I didn't get a chance to chat with any of our guests to find out a little more about you, but I see that we have Camille Davidson, Julitza Cervantes, and Bob Wills, who I believe is our speaker. And Camille and Julitza, if you would like to introduce yourselves a little bit, say about where you're from and why you're here. Julitza, I believe you did earlier, but I didn't quite catch it.
Hi, my name is Julissa, and I am a student from the dental hygiene program, and I am here because I am completing an assignment for community oral health.
Hi, I am Camille Davidson. I moved to Carbondale last July as the Dean of the School of Law. My dad was a Rotarian. I actually received a Rotary Fellowship to Nairobi, Kenya, and have been meeting to join the meeting. I've actually been to the Sunset Club in Marion via Zoom. And finally, I had a noon open that I could join you all. And so I'm very excited to be here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Our Rotary Club is always open to guests, and we're happy to have you all here. Club announcements this week, 100 Little Things update. We have 61 projects out of the 100 goal that are already completed. Gun lock donations, I believe I had 35 of them that were donated last week that I got in touch with. We were finally able to get those into hands of Moms Demand Action, so we are still needing more of those. Sharon Lawrenskis is our champion on that. Our Adopt a Spot cleanup in the spring, Pam is in charge of that one. We're also collecting 100 flashlights and 100 box fans. And there's plenty more on our website at rotaryofcarbondale.org/centennial. So we're happy to take more ideas. If somebody's got an idea for another project that they'd like to do, we've done everything from canned food donations, toothbrushes, and many, many more. 61 projects are completed. So great job, everyone.
And 100.
Our active service projects right now, the Carbondale Warming Center lunch project is ongoing. I don't have the menu for today, but I did want to share that they did open the 3rd floor to some new residents. So they are currently serving 41 total residents at this time. Thank you for your continued support on this. Our food contributions that we would normally make to pay for our weekly meals have been going to support Heartland Catering and support the Warming Center. So we've been passing that money along to Heartland Catering still, and they're supplying those meals. I don't think Gail is with us today, but Jerry, do you have any updates on the Warming Center? Anything that they need at this time for additional support? You are currently muted, sir.
I can just repeat what Gail has said in the past, that they need plates and serving things. I will be attending a board meeting that they're having this Thursday night to figure out, because they're winding down for the winter time into the summer, and what that's going to look like. So by next board meeting and next week, I'll have some idea in terms of their timing and the things that they need for closing out. They'll be opening up again next fall, but we'll have something more definitive next week, in terms of dates and what their needs are. I'm also going to talk with Carmelita about any projects that they may have for next fall that we might consider for our Rotary project. But I'll have a discussion with her this week and have that information ready before our. That's it.
Thank you, Jerry. Our foundation donation challenge is ongoing. This is the first challenge that we had with our 100 Little Things, that each month we have different Rotarians that are contributing $100 to our club foundation as a match to the other donations that go into the club. So $100 donation this month is from Pam Umloff Brown. April is Christine. Shane has May. Faith is in June. We are open to continuing that on beyond June of 2021 for anyone who may be interested. So thank you to all of those who have supported us and those who are lined up to do so in the future. Club announcements, helping out week to week. Our club duties, our doodle poll is here. I did put it in the chat earlier. So if you are planning on attending one of these future meetings, please do sign up. With us being virtual right now, it's easy to do it this way instead of handing around the physical clipboard as we would if we were meeting in person. So please click that link if you're going to be able to be with us on the 17th, 24th, or 31st. Please sign up to do one of those. Our satellite club is up and running. They've got 8 members right now at the Rotary Club of Murfreesboro. They've got a website and YouTube coming soon, but they do have a Facebook page, so please check that out and send any potential new members that way. Some district news. Our 2020 grant project, we are waiting on the Kiwanis Club for some final information to close that out, but we do need to apply for our 2021 grant soon. There were a couple members that we spoke with at the board meeting last month. If those members could bring their information, what they'd like to do with that for next week, we can get that going. District 6510 is looking for host families. Sharon, could you give my throat a break here for a minute and chat about what the Rotary Youth Exchange is all about and what they're looking for?
Sure. Well, every year since I've been a Rotarian, and for many years before that, we have both sponsored a student from another country here as what we call an inbound student, and most years also an outbound student, or sometimes students who go and spend an entire year abroad studying in a high school in another country. I myself was a Rotary Exchange student in 1968, 69, and I think it's a life-changing experience, which is why I'm very happy to be YEO. And I would just once again encourage all of you to support that. But one of the difficult things about being a YEO is coming up with host families. It can be a commitment to take a strange young person into your home for 3 or 4 months. But really everyone who has done that has found it to be a very rewarding experience. So please consider that coming down when we in the next year after this, when we're going to start, getting involved in the program again. Thank you.
All right, Rotary International news. The coming Rotary year, the new official cause of Rotary, the new additional official cause of Rotary is protecting the environment. So we'll have some presentations on that in the coming weeks or months. Countdown to history is on. As of February 17th, Afghanistan had 54 active cases of polio. Pakistan had 60. So we are very close to eradicating polio. Let's continue to support the Polio Plus Fund. So thank you all for everything you've done to continue to do that. We had a speaker a couple weeks ago who did a presentation on that. And it's an amazing program and a great impact that Rotary has had on the world. Now it's time for some of your good news, fellow Rotarians. Who's got some good news to share?
Hi, this is Sierra. The good news that I have to share is I finished my final for my anthropology class. And so now I only have 3 classes left to worry about for the next 7 weeks. So keep me in your prayers because it's a lot going on, but we're going to make it through the semester.
Rick, I put some good news in the chat, a document. Hopefully everybody can open it with a chance to get the COVID vaccine this Friday at New Zion Missionary Baptist Church. Actually, it'll be in the parking lot that's sponsored by the Jackson County Health Department. And I believe they're also offering the 1-shot Johnson & Johnson vaccine. I'm not sure the location. Linda Flowers, do you know? I just remember seeing a flyer and seeing it posted, but I just don't remember the exact location.
The one at New Zion will be the Johnson & Johnson.
Okay. And I think that's on the flyer. I'm out there. Okay. And then Jackson County, I think, is still having the Friday or Thursday, Friday clinics at the Banterra Center. And I am not 100% sure. Theirs fluctuates in terms of Pfizer or Moderna. And there are some people that want one over the other. And I would just say, just reach out to the health department to find out which one that they're offering on whatever day that you have your appointment. But I have heard people from Chicago are actually driving down here to get the vaccine because it's not as readily available. So bravo to Southern Illinois for getting that out there. And it's so many opportunities to get it.
I would like to piggyback on Faith's good news report. My late in her 80s, sister-in-law, Hazel Harris, was able to come up from Johnson County, and she received her vaccination out by the old Safemore. It's actually the old skating rink out there. And it was people from outside of Jackson County, but I could only watch her go in, but I was crying. I was so happy because she's been on a waiting list for so long, and Southern 7 just haven't had the dosages, the 7 bottom counties. And then later that week, a friend, since we hadn't had our second shot yet, we had to be careful. But a friend from Carrier Mills brought my 81-year-old sister. And I think she was as thrilled about being in the Banterra Center in the arena as she was getting her shot. And oh, those handsome guardsmen. Oh, she just loved every one of them and told them. And so we had a great time. She's a little hyperactive like I am. And then my niece and her husband drove all the way from East Peoria, 4 hours. They were able to get their shots at the Civic Center, and they'll be returning in a few weeks. So, and as I said earlier, Dennis and I have both received our 2 shots, and we should be ready to go. Oh, and I just found out about an hour ago that our grandson at the University of Kansas will be offered vaccinations because his job, which he gets paid for, is to show prospective students around on campus and their parents, of course. So that's a pretty precarious situation to be in with all these strangers. So I'm so happy that he will also be vaccinated.
Well, my good news for the day is that today marks the first day of my quote unquote spring break. My kids have been on spring break all week, but my daughter let me sleep in a little bit this morning, and then we made, myself and the 2 girls, we made French toast, and the girls made fruit salad. All I did was cut the big ends off the pineapple. They did the rest of it, and we had a wonderful fruit salad and French toast for breakfast. Well, my wife got to sleep in too. So it was always nice to get a little bit of a break in the action. Okay, I don't hear any other good news, so we will move back into our regular meeting here, and the rest of our meeting here. All right. Sergeant at Arms, I don't see Gail on the call with us today, so I don't know if there's any reason to find anybody, but I'll put it out there. Does anybody at any one of our members like to step in and be the Sergeant at Arms today? Hearing none, let's continue to support our program through the Carbondale Warming Center. I'll put just a plug out there. When you get your monthly bill, if you could please continue to support the monthly meals and the contributions for the Warming Center and those meals. Thank you all. Now it's time for our guest speaker. I've got Robert Wills, the Eurma Hayes Center. I'm going to stop sharing my screen again, but I want to welcome you, Mr. Wills, to our meeting, and the floor is yours. Let me unmute you here so we can.
Does that pick me up?
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for the opportunity. I would like to add that at the Civic Center this Friday, my wife and I will get our second shot. So they are open all day on Friday. Took me about 10 calls to get through to Jackson County Health, but finally did it. And they gave us a time of Friday afternoon. So we're thankful to God that we were able to get that second shot. I appreciate this. One of the things I do want to say is that having some previous experience with Rotary clubs up in Alton, Illinois, it's a tremendous organization, as they all are. So I appreciate the time to be able to speak to you. Didn't know what kind of time I have, and I did not prepare slides because I really haven't had time at the center all the time over there. And then my wife is paraplegic, so I'm working on her. So forgive me for no slides, but I will speak and I'll answer any possible question I can to you and for you. A little bit about me. I was born and raised here in Carbondale. My family has been in this town for 110 years. They still remain here. Born with 13 brothers and sisters. Graduated Adams grade and Adams High School and left immediately upon graduation and went to North Carolina, 1957, on a basketball, baseball scholarship. So I was down there for a bit. I ended up in corporate America because I did not graduate down there. I got hurt. And I ended up in corporate America here, lived all over the United States, so to speak, in about 40 some years, 45 years. Chicago, then they moved me to Oakland, California, then they moved me to Seattle and Alaska for 10 years, and they moved me to Miami, Fort Lauderdale for right at a little over 10 years, then moved me to Baltimore. So I moved around a lot. I ran the seaports, which is very large. We're the largest ocean container company in the world. And I was in charge of the seaports, a lot of labor. So I got my master's degree in human resources and labor relations. I have 3 kids, 3 grown kids, 10 grandkids, which none live here, pretty much. And my sisters and brothers kind of scattered all everywhere. I do have a sister here that's a pastor, New Birth Church. I retired in Godfrey. I retired in Baltimore, moved to Godfrey. The lady I was dating had a house here and I had one in Columbia, Maryland, so it was cheaper to come here. I ended up in Godfrey for 20 years and came home because my relatives continued to stay on my case and we wanted to get something on one floor. House was too big up in Godfrey, so I ended up here. And lo and behold, I got asked by some people to help out with the Eurma Hayes Center, which I was very familiar with. I grew up with Eurma Hayes. We all went to Bethel Church. My mother and Miss Eurma Hayes and Mr. Bill Hayes, my dad, were very, very good friends. So our families were very close. And I knew Miss Eurma Hayes in every way you could think of, as far as a wonderful lady that helped raise me. And right now, I am the executive director, which I was appointed by the previous board. And we are really working very hard and feverishly on the interior, because the building was closed for like 9 months. A lot of damage. And so we're working, cleaning and tearing out things and working on the interior of the building. We're working very closely with SIU because their architects have come in and told us the things that we have to upgrade to be to the new codes. The buildings was all coded out for the previous years, but it's changed. So we have a lot of tearing out to do and putting back in bathrooms and sort of things, those sort of things. At the current time, we are getting ready to finish off the free health clinic. We had to tear it completely down, take up the flooring, paint every room. And we've done that, and we've ordered the new flooring. And I'm just trying to give you a quick synopsis. We got a setback when the snow was here. 9 pipes busted in the building, and we had major water problems. Unfortunately, the water pipes are right above the ceiling, so there was no heat on in there. So it tore all the ceilings out and what have you. So it set us back a couple of weeks. We're pretty much back where we started from by doing all the cleaning, and now we're able to get ready to start putting the flooring in the whole place over there. We're working closely with Carbondale as far as they're going to the maintenance department. They're going to strip all the flooring throughout there. Where there's tile, they will be stripping all of that out and assuring that we're safe in every way. And then they will put it back so that it favors how school floors look or hospital. So they're going to do that for us, which is a major, major financial savings for us. We're working with USDA because we have 3 very large ticket items over there that have to be completed first before you really can open up. And that is, there's a 1974 heating system in the building, which does not work very well. And you cannot get parts for it. So we've got to replace the heating system throughout the building. We've got to replace 3 very large air conditioners, which runs the air conditioning system. And we have to rewire a large portion of the building because the wires are not up to the nowadays code. We're working with USDA and First Southern Bank on that so we can secure the funds to get all of that taken care of. We're also working with SIU as far as putting the Wi-Fi system in the computer lab. We're working with John A. Logan, which we've agreed to a literacy program that we will have there. I'm currently working with East St. Louis on some things that we want to put in for the youth in order to be both educational and recreational. So we want to have a very vibrant youth system. We're talking to many different businesses who have some concerns. The veterans, want to make sure that we have veterans in there, social, economic, social workers. So we're working on all of those things while at the same time getting the building ready to open. Hopefully, prayerfully, that we can get this done within the next month. And that's based on the premise of getting those large ticket items at least started. Our labor sets us back a little bit because mostly our labor comes from community service people that, as I work with the state's attorney, and they provide community service work, and we keep records of that, how much they work, hours and what have you. So that's moving along. We've had, we're putting a food bank in there. We've already given food out the first time to the community. We now have just put another load in up there. We have to go to Fairfield, Illinois and get that with Midwest Food Bank. And we will be sorting again this week to pass out food to the community once more. That's pretty much an overview. We have the board that we have, I asked for them for a 2-year commitment. I know them well. We've worked together on other projects, and we're trying to use that expertise as much as we can and then work closer with the Carbondale community. Just a little bit about the board, and I hope I'm not going on too long for you here, just trying to update you. Edward Blythe grew up here, went to Adams Grade School, high school, SIU, got his law degree at SIU. His family is still here in Carbondale, and he is a retired attorney, and he serves as attorney for the board. Wendell O'Neill grew up here, went to Adams Grade School, high school, SIU, owned his own business and has a PhD, and he's been managing a facility of 800 people from start to finish. Richard Morse, who grew up here, the Morse family. Richard is an entrepreneur, at one time had an office in the Eurma Hayes Center and worked with Elbert Simon and some other people. Richard is still here. He lives in Murfreesboro. Mark Morris has a PhD out at SIU. Mark is the treasurer. Grew up with his dad, went to school together with his dad, Ernest. Then we have Stephanie Elliott, who she lives in Alton. She was the comptroller for the city of Alton, has a master's degree in finance. We have Rochelle Sumner, who is the head administrator up in Virginia, and she serves as the secretary. And she works with a lot of different entities and is a major player in the NAACP up there. We just brought in Ginger Rye Jameson. Ginger lives right next door to Eurma Hayes Center. She's going to be forming, so to speak, kind of a youth, I won't say council, but working very closely to get what the youth believe is their need or desire. So we want to focus on that also. That's pretty much where we are. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions because I did not put together anything formal. I will say that we meet once a month. Every first one meeting out of each quarter will be open to the public. Right now, we have to do it, as you know, via Zoom. When we're able to do that in person, we will do so. So our first open meeting to the public will be this Friday at 6 p.m. And there will be links out there. I believe they're out already so that the public can listen in or whatever they need to do. The city of Carbondale is working very closely with us. We're working very closely, and some of you might have heard about the resource center. Been some controversy about that by some public people, community people, some for, some against. That's pretty much it. We still have a long ways to go, long ways, and that's the preparation, so to speak. And we're looking at putting cameras on the buildings. We're looking at upgrading the parking lots out there where it's some issues. But it's our belief that to get that center open will help revitalize the community over there. We have several things we want to do with the community in the center. Mentoring is one, not just children, but adults and other affairs in there. So it'll hopefully we can regain some of the people that was there before because they have experience. That's pretty much it. Can I answer any questions for you?
I have everyone muted so we didn't have any background noise while Robert was speaking here. So if you do have a question, please feel free to unmute yourself and go ahead. I'll kick it off. You said what's really the timeline you guys are looking at of having of being reopened?
Well, once again, it depends on how fast we can get that heating and or air conditioning system in there. They work, but they don't work very well. They're not economical. In fact, it's a bone of contention. The new ones will be economical, and it's our hope that with the economics of those new systems, that the rental charges and the efficiency of the building will go. The efficiency will go up. The rental charges will go down, where we have to have that. So I put some calls in this week, and I'll hear back Monday from the bank as to where we stand with that. So a lot is around those big ticket items. As we get warmer, we don't have to worry so much about the heat, but we got to make sure right now we fix the air conditioning systems up front.
Mr. Wills, Christine McGuire here. Have you thought at all about reaching out to some of the unions in the area? I know 773 frequently likes to have programs for their apprentices. And that might be another good source of labor for you.
Yes, ma'am, we have, and we're also, we're taking 3 bids from each company on the different particular items. So we have reached out, and we've reached out to some labor about some pro bono work. We've reached out to talk about having some sort of classes over there to train it from a, from a skill perspective. So we have done that, and we have to do more in that area, but we have begun that, yes.
Great.
Have you considered solar when you're talking about the heating and air conditioning as a long-term investment?
It came up from one of the gentlemen brought that up to us as a suggestion. And we've had a contractor, we talked about that to see what their feeling was on that, because obviously that has some possibilities. Solar is a good thing nowadays. One of the things that they were looking at is the condition of the roof, for solar when we spoke to this particular company. But yes, that have come up and it is being looked at.
A follow-up question. You're talking about a large capital investment in bringing that building back up to functioning. How is it going to get paid for? Where's the money going to come from to bring that building back to full use like it was before?
Well, I can't say that like it was before, but what we're doing now, we've already priced that out. It would be 40-year, would come under the USDA, would be on a 40-year loan purposes. 2 clients alone, one that we already have and another one that would be very similar, would actually take care of that piece of it as far as the payback. The rental charges that we would have would take care of that. And then with the other businesses in there, obviously that would take care of the month-to-month expenses, i.e. utilities, insurance, and what have you. So we've priced all of that out, but that's how we would do that right now.
Thank you.
We're trying to, obviously, several entities or tenants that would go in there would be tenants where there's no rental charge. You have no rental charge for a youth center, but we got to make that a vital piece of it. So we're trying to secure enough contracts and businesses to make sure that flows smoothly.
Mr. Willis, this is Cindy Byes. You mentioned the issue of the resource center and having a police officer there. And I've read a little bit about it in the news and social media, but I wondered if you could just give us an update on where that stands.
It still stands the same. I'm on a committee down at where it's 5 community leaders, Black community leaders that meet with 5 police officers. And we talk about all the issues there is, or problems, if you will, and more importantly, what's the solution? So working with some Black pastors, trying to make sure that we address the solutions. One of the things that I like about the Resource Center, I was involved with it in Alton, Illinois. And we met with the police and did different things. It was just really coming out to work out quite well as it did in East St. Louis. So trying to say, if we can work on healing the community instead of dividing the community, because one of the things that I have found for sure, which I was very shocked because it's not Carbondale I came up with, the community is very divided. And I'd like to see it healed. And I do know you cannot heal by staying divided. Somewhere down the line, you've got to be together, work together, There's lots of issues from both sides. Is just listening, because I know none, but I listen to all. There's issues with police brutality, as it was said, but there's also issues the other way coming from the police department. So as we meet, we try and talk about what's some of the solutions to the problem. And I asked them that could we put like a small resource center in there, and that resource center, there's two ladies that does work for the two black ladies that works for the police department now, they would be in there. And we talked about there's a part-time police officer retired to be there. It's not designed to be what I hear in the community. It's a jail, it's all these things. None of that, that's far from the truth. What I want to do is try to have as less traffic as possible, but if we can start building relationships internally in the center and have them involved with helping with the youth and some programs that we already got set aside for the youth. We want that to start saying that can be hopefully an agent to help heal, not come in your police uniforms, none of that stuff, because you put people love you till you put the uniform on, then they don't. So we want this as relaxed atmosphere as possible. We're still working our way through some of the stuff, but we do see that it would be good, even though many people don't think it would. I understand both sides of it. So we're trying to be very careful with that. But I definitely see it as being a winner and not a loser. It's going to take a lot of work, but we have to put that work in to make it happen. As I said to some of the community people I've talked to, if the police, you say these things, if the police was after you, they wouldn't have to be over at the Eurma Hayes Center. They could just come and do whatever they have to do. So we have to look at that from a wider standpoint. One of the other things that I really love, I saw that NAACP just did a wonderful thing, I think, with the police department. That's also an aid too, even though it's not connected to the resource center. It's not, but it is. So that's what we're trying to do with it. We've committed that we would go out with them. We go meet with people. We try to put both in a very warm atmosphere to try to heal this thing. So that's kind of what we're talking about with it. It's nothing big, but it's small enough to start to heal the community and the police department. Carbondale. It's healing Carbondale, not just one side of town.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Wills,
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
Ella Lacey, and I was a volunteer with the I Can Read program in the Eurma Hayes Center.
Okay.
And part of that time was when we were having problems with heating, air conditioning, electricity. And
Yes.
we had a discussion with Ameren, where Ameren said if that building were under a 501c3 condition, they would have been able to give some very large grants for electricity billing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been able to follow up on any of that now so that
Yes.
that looks possible?
Yes, ma'am. In fact, I had to, the 501c3 had elapsed when I got involved. We now have it. It's done. In totality, we brought it up to date. So we have the 501c3, and yes, we have had a informal conversation with Ameren because they do the same thing up in the Alton Godfrey area when you do that. So we are, and we want to have a more formal thing. And let me tell you, you work with a person I dearly love, grew up with, still love to this day, and that she was over the I Can Read, Ms. Nesbitt. Ms. Nesbitt, I've been knowing her all my life. Talked to her as soon as I got to town, hadn't even got involved with Eurma Hayes because I just loved her so much and her family. So wonderful lady.
She's
But
still
yes, ma'am.
director. She's
Yes, ma'am.
still active director of I Can Read.
Oh, I know. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be bugging her about crying to get her back.
I see. Okay.
Gonna
Thank-
try. Gonna
Thank
try.
you.
So far, many of the organizations have showed an interest of wanting to help. And obviously, it's a very slow process, but lots of calls where people are willing to help. And I'm talking about from a business standpoint to help with these kind of costs because they are very expensive. I'll just say for right now, we're taking care of all of the expense ourselves until such time that, and we put in for grants and different things, but until such time, the board ourselves, we're taking care of all that expense because we don't want to lose any momentum. And we just believe that that Irma Hayes Center should be open so that our kids will have a place to go, the adults will have a place to go. It can be what it was, just brought up to date.
Sounds fantastic. I really appreciate the work you're doing, and I think I speak for the club when I say thank you.
Thank you.
For doing that. You know, if there's any service projects that you guys need done, small scale type things, we may be able to help out. And I work for the Boy Scouts professionally, so I've got a lot of contacts with scout groups that are always looking for service hours, and that may be another opportunity if you've got some cleanup, things like that that might need to be done that aren't of a hazardous nature necessarily. I've had people say, we need asbestos cleaned off the wall. Like, no, we can't do that stuff, you know, but other cleanup, things like that, I think I could probably scrounge up some folks to help out with that. So,
well, you know, I thank you. And I do want to address the asbestos, having the SIU architects, a lot of that was blown up much more than it was. And that is the flooring, Carbondale, the city of Carbondale, just outstanding with helping take charge of that. So we do have general cleaning. We've thrown out stuff that's been there, and we want to get just a great fresh start. We want the community to be happy about it. So we will take any labor that comes by. We will use them in a safe manner.
that sounds perfect. So thank you so much. That will really appreciate you coming on and sharing the updates with us today.
Well, thank you very much. And I can assure you that we're going to get that center open and where the community and Carbondale can enjoy what should have never been closed. We'll make it work.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Appreciate you. God bless you.
So next week we have Sarah. I don't know if that's Marbis or Marbs, but we'll have Sarah with us from SIUC to discuss Women's History Month. 24th we'll have Orbeck discussing solar in Southern Illinois, and the 31st we'll have Linda Schuyler discussing the Illinois Public Health Assessment.
I would like to say Ari Beck is the person that approached me about solar in that building.
And he does have a grant program through his business. I'm sure he discussed that with you, but they have a grant program that they can grant solar panels and assist them to nonprofits. So it's great that you have that 501c3 backup, and
Yes.
that might be a great partnership there.
Well, I appreciate that. He also donated some refrigeration for us, so I appreciate him.
Yep. All right.
Well, thank you. I'll leave you now unless you have other questions for me. Thanks for the opportunity.
All right. Now it's time for our four-way test, and I have Faith Miller. Could you please lead us in the four-way test today?
Absolutely. The four-way test of what we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will be beneficial to all
concerned.
concerned.
Thank you all for joining us at Rotary today. Service above self, and hopefully we can get back to meeting in person Wednesdays at noon over at the school district on Giant City Road. As always, check out our website, Facebook, Instagram, and check us out on YouTube. And everyone have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yes, great to have you. Bye.